Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're tackling something absolutely crucial for your clinic's growth. We're talking about local search. Now, if you're running a practice, whether you're the owner or the practice manager, you already know your Google business profile is probably doing way more heavy lifting for new patient acquisition than your actual website. It's just a fact. So today we're going to look at the exact evidence-based strategies, the daily front desk habits, and the specific follow-up systems that top-tier practices are using to completely dominate local search. And hey, no hype here, just what actually works. We're going to break down exactly why the standard run-of-the-mill approach to getting patient feedback is actually holding you back, and more importantly, what you should be doing instead. To really understand the stakes here, I want to start off by asking you a direct question. What does one single one-star review actually cost your practice? Think about it for a second. It's super easy to brush off a bad review as just, well, a frustrating annoyance, right? Just a digital thorn in your side. But the local search data tells a much more serious story. You see, a single negative review sitting right there, highly visible in your most recent feed, is a massive hidden cost. It's silently damaging your practice, literally turning prospective patients away long before your front desk phone ever rings. That hidden cost? It's roughly $70,000. Yeah, you heard me right, 70 grand. Now, if you're a busy practice owner, I bet that number just grabbed your full attention. This is not just a minor marketing hiccup we're talking about. This is a massive, gaping leak in your practice's revenue potential. Let's look at the brutal math to see exactly how we get to that $70,000 figure. Consistent local search studies show us that a single visible negative review deters about 20 prospective patients. When they see it, boom, they close the tab and immediately book with the clinic down the street. Now, take those 20 lost prospects and multiply them by an average dental patient lifetime value of $3,500. Accounting for the first consult, hygiene visits, restorations, follow-ups, the whole shebang. That equals $70,000 in lost revenue. And honestly, remember that this math compounds. If you've got 3 or 4 visible negatives dragging your rating down, it degrades your entire local PAC ranking. Section 2. The silent 99%. To fix this revenue leak, we first have to understand the core asymmetry at the absolute heart of this whole patient feedback problem. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what's happening. Across thousands of data points, it turns out roughly 99% of your happy dental patients will never leave a review unless they're prompted in a very specific way. Think about it. A great experience is just expected. They remember it for an hour, maybe mention it at dinner, and then totally forget it. But that 1% who had a bad experience? Oh, suddenly they have all the free time in the world to hop online and write a 3-paragraph essay about it. Angry patients are loud, happy patients are completely silent. Because of this behavioral quirk, you end up with a rating that doesn't even come close to reflecting your actual standard of care. Section 3. 6 missed profile optimizations. Before we even think about touching software or automated review systems, let's fix the foundation of your Google business profile itself. There are some basic habits you can fix in literally a single afternoon. Most clinics just fill out their name, address, and hours, and that's it. They stop. But Google's local pack massively rewards completeness and engagement. The 6 sections that almost always get skipped are detailed services and service areas, a regular cadence of photos, a seated Q&A section, weekly Google posts, fully utilizing true attributes like whether you're wheelchair accessible, and adding a direct booking link. Honestly, just filling these out closes a huge portion of the local pack ranking gap all on its own. So the crucial point is really about how you manage these sections, particularly your photos. Google reads recency as a massive signal. A profile that adds new photos every couple of weeks, that lets alive to the algorithm. A practice with 40 photos uploaded steadily over 12 months will actually outrank a practice that just dumped 200 photos onto their profile all on one random Tuesday 3 years ago. The ideal rhythm here is just 2 to 3 new photos a fortnight. It could be a shot of the exterior on a sunny day or just a quick team selfie at the morning huddle. Keep it simple, but keep it consistent. Another incredibly powerful, yet surprisingly underused tool is the Q&A section. Look, instead of leaving it blank for random, sometimes unflattering questions from strangers on the internet, your front desk should absolutely take control of this. You can legally and safely post the most common questions you get, things like, do you take new patients, or do you do same-day fillings, right under your official practice account, and then just answer them yourself. It's a fantastic front desk habit to get into. Google indexes this information, and it instantly builds trust with prospective patients who are creeping on your profile. Section 4. Timing the review ask.
Okay, now that the foundation is rock solid, let's shift to the active system you actually need to capture those reviews from the silent 99%. I'll tell you right now, just nudging your front desk staff to ask harder simply doesn't work. You need a real system. Let's contrast generic software with a system truly built for dentistry. Those generic bots, they were originally built for restaurants and hotels. They just send an automated one-size-fits-all email exactly 7 days later. And guess what? Patients completely ignore it. A built-for-dentistry system, on the other hand, uses cohort-aware timing. It customizes the wording based on the specific procedure, and it sends the message so it looks like a personal text coming directly from the principal dentist or the practice manager.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the whole concept of cohort timing. In dentistry, a patient's emotional peak isn't necessarily right when they're swiping their credit card at the front desk. It depends entirely on the procedure they just had. For a routine clean, that emotional peak is usually the very next day. They feel great. But for a complex restoration, they might be numb, they might be sore. So hitting that emotional peak for them actually requires a 5-day window. Timing the ask for the exact moment the patient is most thrilled with their result is the secret sauce. That's what actually flips the response ratio in your favor. Section 5. Private resolution saves patience. But we have to ask, what happens when a patient isn't thrilled? Because let's be real, if you're asking everyone for a review, you're naturally going to surface some 3-star and 2-star experiences along the way. If you don't handle this correctly, those complaints go straight to Google for the whole world to see. The silver bullet here is intent filtering. Here's how it works. First, negative intent is detected in the initial private microfeedback. Second, instead of that person being pushed to Google, their feedback is routed privately, straight to the practice manager's inbox. Third, your team picks up the phone and makes a call to resolve the issue. By catching these unhappy campers early, practices see a massive 94% reduction in public negative posts. It literally gives you a chance to repair the patient relationship before the damage goes public. It's a real game changer. Section 6. The 90-day picture. Let's move to and see how this builds in the real world. We've talked a lot about the theory, but let's look at a composite case study of an 8-year-old suburban Brisbane practice. In days 1 to 14, they integrated their practice management software and dialed in their messaging cohorts. Pretty standard setup stuff. Then, between days 15 and 45, their first 100 new reviews landed. During this time, that private resolution flow we just talked about, it caught its first 6 negative issues. Every single one was resolved with a quick phone call and 0 posted publicly. Finally, between days 46 and 90, Google recognized the new activity, rebalanced the local pack, and this practice climbed from position 5 all the way up to position 2. In total, they added 291 reviews at a totally sustained velocity, and, crucially, caught 14 negatives privately. And here is the metric that actually matters at the end of the day: new patient bookings. As their review velocity increased and their local pack position rebalanced in their favor, online bookings just started climbing. Week 7 saw 16 bookings. Week 9 hit 22. And by week 12, they were at 28 online bookings. That is roughly a 1.7 times lift in new patient inquiries, directly attributable to them taking control of their local search prominence. Beyond the obvious revenue boost, there is an incredible downstream benefit to this system that most practice owners completely fail to anticipate. As this principal dentist noted, and I love this quote, "The team reads them in the morning, and it sets the tone for the whole shift." Think about it. When you stop hearing only from that loud, angry 1% and actually start hearing a daily drumbeat of positive reinforcement from the happy 99%, practice morale literally skyrockets. And better yet, when you're sitting there with a 4.9 rating and hundreds of glowing reviews, hiring becomes significantly easier. Why? Because quality candidates Google your practice before an interview, just like patients do. We've definitely covered a lot of ground today in this explainer, from the quiet, hidden cost of bad reviews to the specific front desk habits, Google profile optimizations, and the software systems you need to time your asks and resolve issues privately. If you've just been crossing your fingers hoping patients will figure it out on their own, or if you're relying on generic software that doesn't understand the nuances of dentistry, it is time to take control. Implement these systems, unlock your silent 99%, and just watch your local search and your entire practice transform. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to consider. Are you letting the loud 1% dictate your practice's future online,